So how was Anne doing in the sport?
Well, and that's the funny thing. Initially, Anne was not doing that well. But Anne was also, to me looked very feminine, right? I had no clue, right, until he told me that he was a man. But then it just seemed, if you look up Anne's numbers online, he spiked from between 2021 up to 2023 to 23, sorry, put literally of almost like 300 pounds on all his lifts in 1 year, which is basically unheard of. So, I don't want to speculate if he went off hormones or what have you, but just like, he's ranked what number, like, well, he's number one in the world right now for his master's category, and he holds like 3 out of the 5 records in Alberta. So, go figure.
This is Anne at the top of the, he's on the leader block there and number one. Okay, so yeah, we don't know whether he went back on or he went off of like the testosterone blocking hormones, but in Canada, it wasn't a requirement, right? What I read is that according to the rules of the Canadian Powerlifting Union, male to female athletes do not have to make it public that they're trans. They weren't required to do any hormone therapy or surgical alteration. All that's been required is to say you're a woman and show an ID, a government ID saying that's it. Has that been the case?
Can you believe that? Exactly.
No.
That was basically I would call it a trans inclusion policy that my federation had. So basically my boyfriend could walk in tomorrow and self-declare as a woman, take records or compete, and then go back to being a man the next day. That's how simple it was. I couldn't believe it. And that's why I wrote the federation and I said, look you need to put measures in place to protect women and fairness. And because I spoke up, they did change the policy. And that's only because I pressured them, though, because I had a lawyer. I also contacted the international governing body and I said, do you know what's going on here in my federation? And they didn't know because no one knew that Anne was a man. Everyone was clueless. There was women that were competing against Anne that had no idea. So
Wow.
I brought it to their attention. And finally, the governing body said, you need to do testosterone monitoring at provincials and higher. And they need to declare if they are trans, basically. So
Can you tell me, because I saw that.
policy.
I saw they changed it.
Yeah.
They changed it to testosterone monitoring, which jumped out at me as like, well, what does that mean? Did they set a minimum level above which the testosterone cannot go? I should say a maximum level.
Yeah, so it's, you know what, and honestly, I don't know if you know a lot about bodybuilders, but people that take men that take HRT or bodybuilders, they basically could go on their stuff, and then when they come off of it, their test levels drop. So any man, again, I'll use my boyfriend, could walk in there with low testosterone levels and be like, oh, great, I got through. I can go to Worlds now. So, and I said that to them. I'm like, this is not a great policy, but the thing that kind of stops transgenders from going further than provincials is the fact that they have to submit medical records and they also have to submit their psychological records. And this is where, for example, Anne is not getting through because he refuses to submit his basically his records. So, you need a diagnosis because otherwise, any male grifter could walk in there.
Right. And there could be prize money. There could be endorsement deals. There is potential dollars and cents attached to this decision.
Oh, for sure. We see it more so in the States, right, with prize money, but even like we have sponsors, like I have 2 sponsors right now. I've probably lost sponsors because I spoke out because I've been so outspoken. I was kicked out of a museum here in my city because, I was a display of my sobriety and making Team Canada, and they kicked me out of the exhibit because I was speaking out about fairness in women's sports.
So you found out that Anne was nonetheless going to be competing in an event, notwithstanding you're making clear to Anne, it's a no, or I'm coming forward. And what happened? Did you participate? Did you boycott the event?
Yeah, so I did not participate. I was signed up to compete against him at nationals last year. So They thought I was going to attend. And the morning of the competition, the judges were asking me where I was. And I texted them and I said, look, I refuse to compete as long as there's a biological male. So, and then about 20 protesters walked in and protested. And of course, they tried to kick them out. But after that, I basically started writing the federation, and I had a lawyer involved too, because they kept on sending me letters of discipline saying they were going to suspend me. And then
for what?
That was last year. Yeah.
For what? Suspend you for what?
Well, here we go with the censorship in Canada, and our Bill C-16. Basically, they suspended me because I called Ann Andrus a biological male on the Piers Morgan show.
Financial experts thought we were in the clear. They were anticipating around 6 rate cuts by the Fed this year, and then the inflation data came out higher than expected. It's not going away. Not anytime soon, that's for sure. How could it? The U.S. is $34 trillion in the hole, and yet we keep printing money, which pushes the prices you pay every day even higher. So you can either bury your head in the sand or you can do something about it. One option to consider is to diversify a portion of your savings into gold with Birch Gold Group. Gold can be your hedge against inflation, and Birch Gold makes it easy to own. They will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, and you don't pay a penny out of pocket. Text Megyn, M-E-G-Y-N, to 989-898 and get your free info kit on gold. Then talk to a precious metals specialist about how you can choose to protect your savings from persistent inflation with gold. Text Megyn to 989-898 now. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.